Hey, what's up, guys? I mentioned in the tentative list for the Halloween videos, mentioned my interest in photography. And apparently, C.P. Webster, writer, mentioned that he used to teach photography at an art school. That's like fascinating to me, right? As someone who's only ever done photography, I had a snapshot Sony. A lot of the stuff I did, was with the smartphone that I'm holding right now. Um, it is something I don't want to let go of, man. There's some really amazing imagery you can get from photography, and in the end, the law of cinema, right? What is it? It's just moving pictures. But I thought I had gone over this before, I think at some point, but there's a lot of new watchers and stuff. I figured maybe I'll go over again. Pretty much in a commercial sense, right? The photography I've done that is available online. I think I would like to get a Pinterest site. I think Pinterest is the one. I think it's a photo site. There's a lot of stuff I should put on, a dedicated photo site. But regardless, Mr. LaFond, especially back in like about the last decade or so, took a lot of images I took on my little Sony snapshot, which doesn't work anymore. Little one, little phone, like a little box. He took a lot of the photos I took and made covers for them. When you had the old template for Create Space, then it became Kindle. He actually used the photos I took in Baltimore, and when I was with him on little jaunts, and used them as book covers. So maybe I'll show you some of my photographic genius here. Of course, I had gone over this. Right? I remember I had taken a picture of. He showed me a place where, like this was. You had these buildings. I think some of them were medical offices as well, but they were dwellings where literally look at the. You got the nightlight, you got the gates, you got the chain link fence. It was like this. It was like the zombie apocalypse had already happened. And it was cool how he made the photo wrap around, so you get to see this photo I took in the regular, I guess, I don't know, widescreen format. I don't really know the dimensions. I guess I'm more of an instinctive photographer. It was cool how the cover, even onto the binding, just filled up the whole photo. That's really cool. That was really cool. So, and it was cool. Also, this was a house around the corner from the Toxic Tree House, also with bars on the window. I remember that. So I think now there are migrants living there, I believe. Okay. Oh, that's not so great. All right. Well, I'll show you another one here. Right. Oh no, what's this? The Hunt for Who? And okay, this was a photo I took in Bel Air, right, the Bel Air Road in Baltimore. Not too far from the I think North Ave and the big cemetery there. And this is a pretty significant World War One memorial. You see these things right around the World War, as they were called, right? The First World War in America used to have a lot of these monuments everywhere. Okay, some of them are kept up. And some of them though are in areas that have been, I don't know, how can I describe it? Areas that have been overrun and have been left to basically rot. And this is one of them. So pretty cool, pretty interesting, right? Sacrifice. You had the guys here who died from the neighborhood. I think the guys who died were on top. I think these are the people that served at the bottom. But who knows? Maybe they all got whacked. A lot, 100,000 plus American soldiers died in like less than a year. Half of them died of the flu, right? But it was interesting too. This area is really bad. I mean, we were going down the side street. I think after I took the photo, and the Baltimore City cop, I don't know. We made eye contact. I was driving by. They were pulling over somebody. Our eyes met for a brief second. This cop looked at me like he wanted to cut me up with a machete. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. So, was I unnerved? No, I wasn't actually. I was more like, oh, okay. That's good. Now, if you go a little further away, if you go a little east of here, you end up here. Now, what is this? This was a cemetery. And it's interesting too. I believe it's North Avenue. If you go to the end of North Avenue, it ends at what James has described as like, remember King Kong? Remember the big gate there, or like, they would keep Kong out, and they would close it in desperation when he started to, when he wanted to get the woman back. Well, that's what this thing looks like. We went in the cemetery, and it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. A lot of German names, right? Very German city in the 19th century, Baltimore. Literally erased because of that, because of this war. Right? But anyway, just getting out here. There's a photo I took. Remember, this is all the snapshot. There's none of this stuff is from my smartphone. I will say that I can take good photos with the smartphone, but that snapshot, I don't know, the format here, this came out really nice. As someone who's not educated, I could probably use a course back in the day with Mr. Webster. I don't know anything about it. I just go for it. I kind of went into photography as a side hobby just because when you had the camera, it was something that was quicker than drawing a comic, I guess you'd say. But still, what seems like a simple thing. Oh, photography, you don't need any talent for that. There's no bigger lie than that. I'm not even talking about composition. Finding the source, finding the world within the world. What I was saying, like what's behind the veil, okay, in the everyday, and seeing things that I don't know. They convey a world beyond. You know what I mean? I don't mean that like in a new agey sense. I mean it like in a Schopenhauerian sense. But yeah, this was in the cemetery. So, and in fact, wait, I'll show you real quick. Hold on. This was the cemetery. This is a shot I took for James Book Poet. It should be this probably when he wrote this. This could probably be a Netflix show. So, and there's the cemetery, and of course, looking down the downtown. Near they're already going towards the inner harbor. Looking at it from the north here. So, like I said, interesting cemetery, man. Baltimore I would argue Baltimore and Philly in some ways are more American cities than even the one I grew up in. So it's hard to explain to someone outside the country, but yeah, this was right. Okay, this is the cemetery gates. Yeah, and this is just the entranceway. You see this thing, man. This is no joke, man. Maybe you look on the look on the Google Maps, you can see it. So. Black Muslim assassin. Whoa. Oh no, James, what are you doing? Well, white boy. Oh, who's this? Oh my God, look at this. I remember this is the gas station. It's like one of those gas station chains I never heard of. So I remember getting gas here, and I took a picture of him. Of course, I remember the store. Was it upscale salon? Yeah, on Hartford Road. It's real upscale. So who's it? Remember this, man. Remember a white girl bleed a lot, man, dude. Up the road from Baltimore in Wilmington, Mr. Flaherty, man, Mr. Colin Flaherty, rest in peace, dude. What a tragedy that was. That guy was a good man, dude. He's missed. Colin Flaherty's missed. All right, here's one too where this another photo where it was like the wraparound. I took this on. I remember it was a very foggy day. It was really beautiful. It was misty. I think we were by. There used to be a monument of Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee by Wymondel Park. Okay, and there was a couple of other Confederate monuments, but that was a big one right here. I think I had taken this picture on a jaunt to take pictures for that. It was beautiful. Of course, everyone knows when it's foggy or cloudy out, it acts like a natural reflector. For some reason, I don't know, photos or like, shooting film, the light, it kind of makes it look better. I guess I couldn't tell you why. It just does. I mean, they sell reflectors in like B&H or any film place. So, but the photos always were the best on a cloudy or misty, foggy day. So, and I don't mean atmosphere wise, but 2016. Oh my God, it's like another planet. Now this one I took this. This is, I think, Druid Hill. I think this is Druid Hill in a section of Baltimore, which is by another Confederate monument, which is, of course, they're all gone. They're all taken down in 2017, if you remember. But this is 2016, and I remember I took this photo. Of course, I sort of did something with it. I forgot what I did, what I changed it in, but the detail was really, really good. I thought it came out really nice. Of course, Baltimore is it was a Catholic. Maryland is a Catholic colony. There, yeah, I wouldn't say there's more cathedrals and Catholic things than in Brooklyn, but there's pretty damn close for a much smaller city. Um, yeah, man. And just rounding this out. Okay, now this photo. This is when me and James were going with Big Ron to where he grew up in Southwest Baltimore. Okay, I think there was a famous BBC documentary where you see the BBC punk basically on a abandoned end of a street, giving a little intro to Baltimore, Maryland, and man, that we went down that street. Actually, Big Ron knew who had lived there, bunch of criminal guys, and so we were driving around. Southwest Baltimore looks like a neutron bomb hit. Okay, no joke. One of the most bizarre rundowns, I would say scary, creepy parts of a ghetto city that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of ghetto cities. And in terms of the photo, this is a photo down an alleyway I saw. It's one of those places where you have like a single. It reminded me, if anyone remembers, Rockaways, Far Rockaway in Queens, but like the going more east down the Rockaways, how bad the Rockaways were, and you had all these. You would have like a house or a apartment duplex alone by itself in an empty lot with weeds everywhere, and you saw the outlines of what was the base of other duplexes which had been destroyed and demolished. This was similar to that. And this photo is cool. What is it? What are these wires? This is not wires. I took this on the phone camera with a cracked lens. So this is how the photo came out. These cracks here. These are not lines. Like telephone lines. This is actually the crack on the lens of the camera. So, and I thought that was a cool effect. Totally, I didn't realize it until after the fact. So, and this one here, this is one of my favorite photos, and this was actually a really underrated book here, The Pale Usher. This was on the snapshot. This was taken in I guess you call it Windsor Terrace in Brooklyn. It's sort of Park Slope. It's where a lot of the local Brooklyn people still live. It hasn't been like hipsterized yet. They actually looked out property value wise, but down on what street is it? There's still a bar there with local people. Forgot the name of the street. There's a church here on the corner, and it was in the autumn, in the fall. I took a picture here with the light. I thought this was really beautiful. On this street, actually, you have trees that were planted with little plaques under the trees, which are now, some of them are actually gone, but you still see plenty of them, of the local residents. It was pretty much an Irish area. Local young men who had died in the World War. Once again, always the war, right? The World War. There was like 12 or 14 of them. So that's a lot, even in a neighborhood like this. It wasn't as populated back in that time period. That's a lot of young men to have died in your neighborhood, I gotta say. So, but regardless, I always liked it. I always liked this photo. It was just, I don't know, it's not creepy. It's like ethereal, right? It's beautiful. I mean, to me, it is. You could probably be thinking, "Oh, that's like edgy goth photo, bullshit 101." Maybe it all is. Maybe the stuff I did wasn't good. I don't know, but I thought it was all right. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. And that's it. I guess it's a lot already. And just two more things. Now, not technically photos, but in the sequel to Stillbirth of a Nation, I was looking online and I had found this, and I sent this picture to James. Okay, what is this? That's obviously a demon, right? Maybe even the old Nick himself, right? The antagonist. But who is this? Who is this punk? Well, this actually was used, I believe, in I don't know, probably the Pennsylvania Gazette or the Maryland Gazette, one of those gazettes that would come out. This was artwork used in the area where you had runaway servants. Okay. So, and of course, the runaway servant was described, and was also the reward given for capturing the runaway servant and putting them in the jail, which they spelled Gaol, right? Back then, like like Oscar Wilde did in his last work. Basically, yeah, this is a reward for your servant running away. Bring him in chains and increase his indenture, right? So obviously he is white. Oh. Now, obviously, also there must be the devil making this young lad flee. Not being worked to death or abused or beaten or cheated or anything like that. It must be the devil to make you want to not be exploited. So I always thought that was a cool picture. So, and yeah, and you know what? We had done this. This is some artwork I did back in the day. So, so for this Hemovore story, which James turned. Who's it? S.L. James? Who's that? He turned. This was an interesting thing. So it was some writing I did with James, but I'm not really a writer. So I mean, I write comics. I don't write with letters. So it's not my thing. I'm a visual artist, I guess. And that's enough. So that's going over. Actually, this went way too long, but hey, I thought I'd share some of this stuff. And thanks for for sitting through this if you did.